Alright, we've been letting it sit here and run for a little bit just to find the leaks. I cleaned everything off on the bottom part of the engine. And we'll go ahead and shut it off so you can hear me better. We did find the leak, and it is where I suspected it would be. If you guys look, see if I can get the light right here. Well, right where the serial number's at. Right where the serial number's at. Let me just wipe my finger there and I'll show you. You see? See that? So, it's where I thought it was at. It's right here on the stator cover. So we're going to pop the stator cover off. Just use the Honda Bond, make a new gasket, and get that all buttoned up. And then we'll run it around the yard again and see if we develop any more leaks. See what it does, comes in and it runs down and it gets down on the mounting bolt down there, right down there. And it makes it look like it's leaking there. Well, it's not. It's just all coming from right here. It's a pretty substantial leak, especially when you have the kickstand down and the bike is leaning in this direction. So let's get that side cover off and clean off the old gasket. We'll make sure that the cover is good and flat and level, on as level a surface as I can find, which probably be over there on the electrical workbench, and then we'll go from there. So stay tuned. Now, that wonderful sound that you hear in the background is, take a guess, my heat reclaimer. Alright, let's get these suckers busted loose. There's one. That might take a while, huh? Two. Just gonna go right on around, get all of them busted loose. You guys want to sit here and watch me do this, or just pause it after I get them all loose, or turn it back on after I get them all loose? Let's do that. See you guys in a second. Alright, gang, got a catch pan down below. You can see just by loosening the bolts I'm already spewing stuff. So let's pop that cover off. What do you say? Are you ready? Let's use our 12-inch snap-on. You guys can't see this. It's alright, looks like it gets another oil change. Let her all out. And the engine's warmed up because I ran it for a little while to make sure that I found the leak. So we can pan back up. And look, I remembered to put gloves on so my hands don't get all nasty. And they work on my phone and control. Okay, I do need to pop that cover off because I can feel the resistance of the magnets. I want to make sure that I'm okay here and not going to be yanking or tearing anything off. So, are we going to get lucky and get the right Allen wrench? What do you think? What size do you think that is? Look like 4mm to you? There's my confidence. I just shut my tool drawer. Ah, 4mm. Okay. Oh, that's real tight. Now, I left all the screws in place because they're different lengths. I make myself a little pattern just by setting the cover down and setting all the screws in their respective spots so I get them all back in the right spot. There we go. Those I don't have to worry about because they're all the same length. That's awesome. Just pull against the magnets, I guess. That's all it was, magnetic resistance that I felt from the stator, so. Let's go ahead and wiggle that sucker off of there. Pull her straight off. Nice and careful like. And yes, I already did unplug the pigtail for the stator. Just try not to lose any screws down in the oil. Magnets have got a good hold on that. And this doesn't have a battery. It just, there we go. We got her. I'll leave that lay there for just a second so we can drain her off. But that's where our leak was coming from, was behind back here where it seals to the crankcase. So let's take a look and see what we have in here, huh? Uh-oh, that wasn't smart, was it? Okay, you see that one that I caught on my sleeve, maybe? Can you see it? There it is. I know what hole that one goes in. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm just going to set this down on the lift over here. See if we can get enough room. Yeah, you guys probably see me do it. Just going to set it on the leg in the proper orientation. Just take the screws out and put them in their respective spots just on the lift. So that when I put them back in, everything should go back together. You can see how much longer that screw is than some of the others. This one is the same length as there. So that takes care of it. I'm not worried about that little bit of oil. But here's our stator, and the stator is attached to the cover. There are magnets. Whoops. We have our magnets in here. So, okay. I can see exactly why this was leaking, and you guys will be able to see it too. It's always good practice to use just a little bit of RTV sealant to set a gasket in place before you place it on, especially when you're dealing with magnets here that are wanting to pull the cover on real quick, because what you end up with is a gasket that is way displaced. Okay, we're displaced here. See that? We come down here. This is where our leak was, right there. You can see that it's got that hole. Get my finger behind it. It's got that hole all kinds of screwed up. So we're going to bypass this gasket altogether, and we're just going to do a Honda Bond gasket, which is just simply cleaning both surfaces up really good after we get all the oil out, of course. Getting the surfaces cleaned up real good. Putting a thin layer. I'll put the thin layer on the stator cover itself, because when it pulls in, it's going to want, it's just going to be easier for me to put it on the stator cover than to sit here and go around this whole thing, because I can lay the stator cover flat and put it on. So we'll get everything cleaned up after this thing's done peeing out oil. I suppose I could take the drain plug out and get the rest of the oil out of there, but got quite a bit of junk that is accumulated inside the magnet cup, so we'll clean all that out real good so that we're sure that we're not going to wind up with a bad stator when the time comes. Suppose I can bring in kind of close and show you. You can see, maybe you can see just in the back side of it there, just a bunch of stuff built up in there. So we'll scrape all that out and get all that cleaned out. I'm looking at the screws behind. You guys are looking with me. So we've got our timing chain, which is sitting right back there. And I can see evidence where the entire engine was taken off and it was taken apart. It runs really well. After I adjusted the timing chain and the valves, I did that off camera, obviously. But I got everything to where it's all in a happy place, and the engine just runs awesome. So all I really need to do, and see, and there's evidence of old RTV gasket sealant here, so this cover's been off before, because there's no evidence of the RTV sealant on the cover. But we've got a little bit of red back here, where you can see where they put it on the gasket and affixed the gasket. So let me get the rest of the oil out of there, get all the surfaces cleaned up, then I'll show you guys pulling this off, pulling that gasket off. You don't need to see me pull that off, but we'll get the gasket off and we'll make our own gasket with the Honda Bond. So this Kawasaki, Taiwanese made, or Thailand, yeah, Taiwanese made Kawasaki. Make our own gasket. So you guys sit tight. Alright, well, it's not a deal breaker, but we do have another quite evident evidence that incapable hands were inside this engine. If you look right here, you've got this boss, and a big chunk of that boss is missing all the way down to here. So a really good sized piece of that is gone. It's supposed to be secluded for oil to circulate through, and here's your crankcase vent here. You can see the crankcase vent comes up, just goes out and down. We do have a good bit of oil that's going to be circulating around here, but at the same time we still have oil circulating around here too. So keeping it separate, not a huge deal. There may be just a little bit more blow by than what would normally occur, but I'm sure Andy's going to be very diligent in keeping an eye on the oil level. So you can see that right there. I mean, my finger is way down deep into that broken off spot. You can see it pretty good. But like I said, it's not a deal breaker. That is the left side of the case. That is broken right there. But we can work with it. We can deal with it. We can take care of it. And I just got these surfaces all cleaned up, and I got the surfaces on the stator cover all cleaned up. And I'm going to go ahead and reuse the gasket, but I am going to first put a bead of Honda Bond down to make sure that gasket sits where it's supposed to sit, because there's no tears in that gasket. So we can take a look at it here. There are no tears in the gasket anywhere. Okay, right here is where that one galley has that big broken spot. Alright, so you can see it's even separated here. But like I said, you know, it's unfortunate, but it'll survive. It'll be okay. It'll be alright. You can see just one break in the gasket here, but it's on the outside of the case, so that's not a problem. This section of the gasket right here was pulled up like that, just like I'm pulling it, just like that, and that's where our leak was coming from. So I'm going to Honda Bond this, set that gasket back on, and then I'll Honda Bond the other side of the gasket after I get it secured and let it cure for a little while. And then we'll reinstall it, give it some more love juice, run it, and see if we have taken care of hopefully the final leak that we're going to have out of this little KLX110. I've already texted Andy in anticipation of this thing absolutely being done this time. So fingers crossed no other gremlins come out to bite me or Andy. So let's see after we get the Honda Bond on there and the gasket on, and I'll show you guys me putting the cover back on. Then we'll let it cure overnight. We'll come back out in the morning and we'll fire it up for hopefully what will be the next to the last video on the bike, because new plastics are coming for it, so the new plastics are going to go on, and it's going to essentially appear cosmetically like a new bike. And with everything that I've gone through, it's going to run for a good long while. Does the case being broken suck? It does. Is it a deal breaker? It is not. It's just, it is what it is. By looking at the stator, okay, the stator would be just pooled with oil if this brake was way down here and causing oil to just circulate all over everywhere. The drain hole down here is really, really low, and with the crankcase vent coming up and out, you don't have a ton of pressure flowing oil out of there, out of that small hole. It's just kind of there, so it allows the oil to circulate in on throughout the components, the bearings, the chain. You know, we've got our timing chain back there, it's got to have oil, so on and so forth. So let's get her buttoned up. I'll see you guys after I get the Honda bond and the gasket on there and we get ready to stick it back on. Alright, we got everything Honda bonded and the original gasket back in place as well. So now I'm just going to carefully, hopefully carefully, get the cover in place without it yanking out of my hand. Get it on the guide pins. I gotta get it oriented right, which would be just like that. Just slowly and carefully and methodically let that thing come back into home. The magnets are going to catch. There's the first pin, second pin. We're in. Okay, easy peasy. Now we'll throw all the screws in, tighten her all down, and you guys won't have to sit here and watch everything dry. I will just bring the camera back out in the morning. We'll start her up and see if our fix is good. And I'll re-torque the yes, I'm peeling a sticker off as I'm talking to you. Deal with it. I'll let Andy take care of getting all the sticky off of there. We got stickers all over this thing, Fox and all that stuff. But there we go. Cover's back on. I'll throw the screws back in. I will not torque them completely so that I can let that Honda bond cure. Then I will torque everything down. Tomorrow we'll start it up and we will see if we have finally got a motorcycle that has no oil leaks. That would be a good thing, wouldn't it? Alright, so you guys keep your fingers crossed till tomorrow, which is only going to be about 20 seconds, if that. Let's see how warm we've got the shop. 70 degrees and it's 26 degrees outside. Temperature has dropped. Got the stove going real good. Nice and warm and toasty in there. You guys need to put your hands up there and feel that. Oh, that is just so glorious. But that's not what this is about. Alright, day after. Just like I promised. Oil's been filled. Let's see if this old boy's gonna fire up for us. Let me move Big Red over here so I can mount the camera. I really like this toolbox and I like the lift. They both have just been lifesavers out here in the shop. And I should add again that you guys, with your dedication to watching my videos, have allowed me and afforded me to get these two items. I mentioned on an older video, you guys gave me the means to purchased a number of things over the years to aid in improving the shop. Of course, there's a lot of things that's come out of my pocket, but if you guys remind me, I'll go over all of the tools that I got in October. It's a huge list. I added everything up and I was just amazed. But let's see if this little boy's going to start for us. Wow, can't beat that. And that was a cold start. First kick. Choke is on, so we'll let it run on choke for a little bit. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to take it and I'm going to run it out around the yard and freeze my what's-its off and bring it back. We'll put it back up on the lift and we'll inspect for leaks. So you guys don't have to watch me freeze out there. I'm going to go out and have a little bit of fun romping in the leaves. And I'll be right back, so stay tuned. Alright gang, we are back in the shop. Rode around the neighborhood 3-4 times, just got it nice and warmed up. Did everything I thought that I needed to do to make sure that it was ready to be checked for oil leaks. So let's get it off the ground. I might just fast forward this part for you guys so you don't have to live through the pain. Alright, we're up in the air. Moment of truth. Let's check for leaks. Let me move the tool cart out of the way. Oh, before I do that, I just wanted to show you guys how quiet this thing is. Ready? Isn't that just awesome? Okay, let's see if we've got leaks. Using a different flashlight here. Guys, we are dry as a bone. We have no leaks. We are finally in the winner's circle. Looking around, I see nothing. Zero leaks. Let's go around to the other side, take a look over there. Nothing. No leaks. That is what I'm talking about. So, there you have it, Andy. Andy. It is ready to go. Let's see if it'll fire up. Fired up. Right on. Okay. It's ready to go. Another project done. I'll give it a little bit of a clean up so that when he brings the new plastics it'll be all set and ready. I rode it for quite a while. I wanted to make sure that if it was going to do anything, it was going to do it here and not once Andy's son got onto it. So, alright, you guys have been great following me along with the motorcycle repair. And we have other repairs to do. This one, real quick before we end the video, it's going to be kind of a long video. Yesterday's clips and today's clips is puking fuel. I don't know how well you can see that, but trust me, there's a puddle down there. It's puking fuel, so my guess is we've got bad fuel lines in it. And this thing only has 146 hours on it. Crazy. Way to go, John Deere. People wonder why I hate them so much. Alright. That is it. This is your friendly neighborhood Zippo. If you guys are not subscribed and you would like to subscribe to my channel, it's super easy. Just tap on that orange guy down there. Over here is the last build on this, and over here is a random. I promise you guys I will definitely be on the next video. We'll see you later. I'm out.